Hi, this is Maria Mandarino, and I am here again with Julie Jacobs. Today we are going to be taking a look. We're going to be continuing our parenting series on the Enneagram. We're going to look at Enneagram 8 today. If you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share the video. I'm having some issues with YouTube has changed the algorithm for channels, so we're not getting the viewers that we had been getting. So please do your part to participate because it does help. So thank you for doing that. Julie is from Windhorse Counseling here in Chandler, Arizona. Hopefully you've seen some of our videos together. Julie, you want to talk a little bit about what you do and what you have going on?
Sure. Windhorse Counseling, we are in Chandler, Arizona. We offer services in person, also virtually by phone or video, whatever our clients prefer. We are trained in lots of different modalities and have lots of things that we can offer, including EMDR. Um, we are putting together some groups at this time for people who have been involved in high demand religions, also an adulting group. We're looking at a once a month parenting workshop, also considering book study, a more of a drop in kind of thing, and then our always popular boundaries group,
Mm.
because you can't say that word enough. So
Yep.
we are looking at all of those things and open to any other ideas and suggestions people might have. That's where the group for the high demand religion folks came from, was
Mm.
from some clients suggesting that. So
Nice.
um love to hear your suggestions, what people are looking for, and how we can best support you, help you achieve
Okay.
your goals.
Okay. And where can people find you?
At windhorsecounseling.com, or yeah, in Chandler, look at the website. Then you can see the dogs too.
All righty. And for this episode and the Enneagram 7 episode, which is going to air after this, we are going to also have Sami Draper, who is Julie's daughter. She was on the Enneagram 1 episode. She is kind of waiting in the wings to chime in. She has some special insights into Enneagram 7 and 8, so she promised to kind of to help us along there. So you will hear her voice. Um, so the evolution for this series was to bring self-awareness to parenting, to help people with parenting skills through the Enneagram. One of the hardest jobs in the world. I work with women who are working on fertility, and that in and of itself is so stressful. And then the question begged for me, what happens next, right? Baby arrives, and how are we now handling parenting stress? So the Enneagram just seemed like a natural evolution. So that's how this discussion around the series came about. Um, so today we're going to look at type 8. Type 8 is known as the protector, the leader, the challenger. Sometimes we call them the adversary. They are located in the body center. Um, their primary goal is to avoid vulnerability because vulnerability makes them feel weak. And it's the one thing they want to avoid because they think that basically, and eights will usually tell you this, the idea of being weak is as frightening to them as death. They just feel that they could lose their life essence if they're found to be weak. So they will do anything to not appear weak and not be vulnerable. In so doing, they will usually make themselves seem or feel bigger and larger to convey strength. And even eights that are not tall and physically large have tend to have an impact on people that when they do walk into a room, people perceive them as bigger than they actually are because of that. So um, eights are protective, highly protective. This is the higher expression of eight. Okay. Um, highly protective people, especially if there's an underdog around them. They're not just going to randomly protect people, and they will definitely not seek to protect someone that they think doesn't need protection. But if they perceive you as genuinely needing to be defended or protected, they are there in their higher expression. These are action-oriented people. They're assertive. They live in the now. They are focused on justice. They're clear and direct. They're honest. They're good leaders. They're fair. They're personable. Conflict is not a problem for them. They actually like conflict. It gives them the opportunity to step in and be present, be in the now. So they don't see conflict as a negative. They care deeply about the things that they're involved in. They're confident. These are the people that get things done, usually in a noticeable way. And these are people that will also make you feel safe. Again, that's the higher expression of them. So Julie, you have an 8 in your world, and Sam in the wings has an 8 in her world. It's the same 8 there. Anything that you want to chime in about?
It's just so crazy how true it is, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and you go, yeah, he's probably an 8. And then you start listing the things and you're like, he's totally like next to 8 should be his picture kind of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And understanding that his goal is to protect. Because sometimes when people are trying to protect you, it doesn't feel like warm, fuzzy, safe protection. It
Yeah.
feels like, what?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know, but knowing that that's their goal and
Mhm.
that's where they're coming at it from
Yeah.
is very different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And who is the 8? Because we've not.
Oh, I'm sorry, V8's my son-in-law, Sam's husband.
Yep, Sam's husband. So yeah,
Mhm.
we always want to acknowledge who the 8 is.
Indeed, indeed. When when I first started seeing the person I'm seeing now, Jake was very much like, I need to meet him, and I don't know that I like him. I don't know that this is happening. And he did not like him at first. And it was like, what? Because his job was
To
he was
protect you.
me
Yeah,
until,
yeah.
and then he was like, well, I don't know if this guy's gonna be taking that job over. But
It's,
yeah.
I say all the time we need healthy 8s, and particularly when I'm working with women, a lot of times they'll just wish they were in an 8 because it's harder for a woman because of the characteristics of 8. Um, I think out of all the Enneagram types, female 8s are they struggle more with their personality, even in the higher expression, where it's more acceptable in our culture typically for men to walk into a room with these traits. um so, but I always say to the women that I work with, who are 8s, but we need healthy 8s. And basically what that translates to for me is we need healthy leadership. And excuse me. Sorry. Um, so in being that we're talking about parenting today, I guess leadership is kind of a nice place to start on the concept of leadership and parenting. Um, what are your thoughts around that, Julie?
I don't even know what my thoughts are about that right now. Leadership. Um, I can see where sometimes somebody needs to take the lead. Um, I don't know. I'm having a hard time with it from looking at it big picture
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
Um,
To me, leadership can mean healthy leadership can mean creating an environment of safety.
mm, yes.
and stability. Sam mentioned in the last video, I think she used the word grounding when she
Mhm.
was talking about Jake. I think those are those things convey healthy leadership to me.
Mhm.
Not necessarily the I'm in charge, we're doing it this way.
Right.
Um, but creating an environment where the child feels that there's a container.
Healthy boundaries.
Yeah,
They know
yeah.
the rules.
Yeah. And healthy eights have fantastic boundaries. And if we're talking about modeling behavior, I think that's something that eights can really bring, um,
Mhm.
you know, to a family. Um, yeah.
They're the ones
So
that are really great at saying, that sounds like that's a you problem. Yeah.
in their higher expression, I think they would say it. That's like the honesty of the eight.
Okay. Like I don't need
Um,
to get involved in that. This is not my circus, not my monkeys.
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
if they say it, I think that's awesome. And if they say it from a place of centering and just not, not a place of anger, not it's your fault, because that could the low eight could go there.
Sure.
But yeah, just saying, yeah, this isn't my stuff. Um, you take care of it. The
Mhm.
low eight, we're going to talk about the stress lines. The low eight can look like a 5 when they're stressed. And that can just be ghosting, and they don't want to do that. Um, so yeah, but I say it time over and time again, we need healthy eights, and eights can really bring some good stability to families and kids. So in their lower expression, an eight will disdain weakness. They can take on this attitude of only the strong survive. You're not strong, I look down on you. Um, they can have this all or nothing attitude. They have the my way or the highway attitude. They can be domineering, controlling. They can be volatile. They can be intense. Their energy, as I mentioned, can be large. When they're angry, that gets amplified. Um, they're confrontational, and intimidating, in their lower expression. So obviously, these are behaviors we do not want to have as parents. Um, and I think perception is also a thing with eight, where I think it's important for eights to realize they may, even if they're not in their lower expression, that they have the potential to play in their play as if they're in their lower expression to someone else. Not that they're playing it, but that someone else is going to perceive them in some of these ways that can be scary. Um, so particularly as as a kid who maybe is having some trouble with um, you know kids at school who are hassling them, right? So an eight, because you just take charge, I'm assertive, I'm going to go in and take care of it, and your kid's not an eight. But as a parent, you're kind of vibrating with well, why don't you just, and that kid's doesn't have that gene. Um, and they can feel that you're dissatisfied with them. They can feel that disdain, that even if you're not in your low eight, if you don't have the range in your bandwidth to get that not everybody's going to handle it the way you would, and to bring a different container to the situation.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think?
I just sort of had this aha moment that I think my dad's an 8.
Oh,
And I was looking at it through that lens of being raised in that environment. Like, yeah, had very healthy boundaries. Yes, it was very stable. Um, I can see the my way or the highway. I can also see the sort of what was it? It wasn't that being vulnerable is death. Um, in my head, it's the you have to be careful because other people could hurt you.
yeah.
Other people are going to take advantage of you.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
and when you step back and look at it as they're coming at it from a place of wanting to protect you, wanting to keep you safe, coming from a fear-based place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is
Mm-hmm.
that it's dangerous out there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I can see where for them, that's not what they're trying to tell you. They're trying to tell you, I'm protecting you and this is what you need to do to stay safe.
Mm-hmm.
But it can come out like it's scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And it can also be I have to be something that I'm not to satisfy this overbearing parent who can handle anything,
Yeah.
to this little child, right? Like this is like the 8 can just do anything, right? Um,
Superman.
yeah, yeah, very much that kind of energy. Um, yeah, so the somatic piece, 8s kind of do because their body type, they kind of do the full body brace. A lot of it's centered around their back. But they tend to walk in, most of the 8s that I work with, have this like full body armor. Um, so I mentioned that for 2 reasons. One, notice if you're doing it as a parent. Um, 2, consider how people translate your body language, particularly little kids. Um, so I'm going to just take a pause here for a minute. Sam, anything you want to throw in on anything that we've said so far? Just talking about the 8.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I appreciated like that coming from the protective space.
Mm,
And that sometimes it doesn't feel like it's protective and it's you need to think more about like where they're coming from.
yeah.
And that boundary setting piece, like my husband's very good at, nope, this is what it is. That's cool that they gave us that input, but this is what we're going to do because this is what's best for our family. And so I think that that's some of the thing that he's really good at.
Yeah.
Um, and I have 100% been like, hey, babe, I need you to work on your body language right now because you're coming off a little aggressive and we don't want people to like not be not be approachable to other people.
Yeah. Does he even get that? Does he get that he even does that?
No,
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much what I hear with 8s. Yeah. So when you tell him that, does he know what to do with that?
no,
Okay.
No.
not really. And sometimes I'm just like, make sure that you're like facing the people we're having a conversation with, or don't accidentally like get so excited and then I'll not realize that he's excluding people from like a circle of talking.
Mhm.
And it's been helpful. Like I'll poke him and then he'll go, oh yeah, that's right. Thanks for the reminder.
Okay. What, how would you describe having a daughter who's being raised by an Enneagram 8 father? What's that like?
I would definitely say she's very safe.
Yeah.
She's very safe. He's very um she's in the background if you can hear her giggling. I believe no, I know he's an 8 with a 7 wing, and so I think like he's helpful about being adventurous and like supportive of her trying things that maybe I
Nice.
as a 1 would be like, I don't know if we should
Yeah. Yeah. How does she respond to that?
try that. She responds to it really well because I feel like she's really confident in the boundaries that he's set.
Yeah.
Like she knows, I know that dad said this and this is what I can do. And if I need him, he'll be the first one there running to come help get me.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Okay. So, when eights are stressful, we talked about the lower expression of the type itself, but when they're stressed, they walk across the line in the Enneagram that will take them to a low 5, an unhealthy 5. And my experience with eights is there's a physical expression in what that means. They get moody, they can get sullen, they withdraw, there's a detachment, they get aloof, but there's a feeling of physical separation in it when I've been around it. Where 5s can kind of go away right in front of you. 8s, it's right in front of you as well, but it has a bigger, for lack of a better way, you get what I'm saying. It has a physical feeling to it.
There's more energy.
Yeah.
There's more invisible energy exerted there.
Yeah, and it feels intense and uncomfortable, even though it's silence, but it's loud silence.
It feels
And
punitive.
yes. Yeah, so here's a question for an 8. Do they mean to be? Do they mean to be punitive? And when they go to that withdrawing stance of the 5, my experience in working with 8s is they don't. It's just like this instinctive thing that they do to protect themselves. But depending on who else is in the room with them and what type that person leads with, can be partly how it's perceived. Sam, what would you say around that?
I would say it's not meant to be punitive. It's not pushing other people down. It's making sure that he's strong and standing on his own.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I would say that's pretty accurate. They may, in their stress point, guard time, because these are the things that 5s will guard, right? 5s will guard time and privacy, information, resources. Usually it's like head type resources of, the information. But they'll start to look 5-ish around things like that. Reason being, it's all about making sure that they're not weak or vulnerable. So I'm going to kind of hoard these things that I know in that 5 space, time, privacy, information. I'm going to hoard those things to make sure that I'm not vulnerable until I figure out what's going on and I get out of this stressful feeling. We call that in the 5, we call that avarice. And it feels, because the 8's energy is so palpable, when they take it away, we can really notice it more because they fill a room. And when they take that energy away, particularly if they're still standing there, it can be devastating depending on the relationship you have to the 8. Because people do come to rely on them to be strong and protective and powerful. So when that protective force is removed, it can feel unstable. So yeah. Insecurity in their secure stance, when they're trying to attain a goal. 8s can be pretty remarkable to be around. And I'm going to let both of you speak to more of this, but they start to look like Enneagram 2s. Not just giving hearts, but because they bring that intensity of the 8, is a big giving heart. Like you can't miss when an 8 gives. Tremendous kindness. They're thoughtful, they're present to you, and they are there for you. So, being that you both have direct experience with an 8, I'm gonna let you guys speak to that, and particularly what you see in Jake as an 8 in his role as a father.
Me?
Either of you.
I I do see him being very, very present when he's present, right? It is very intentional. When he shows up, he shows up. He doesn't come because he felt like he had to or it was expected. Like when he's there, he's there because he wants to be there, and
Mhm.
he remains present the whole time.
Yeah.
I I love that. I appreciate that. I admire that. And also it's so refreshingly honest,
Mm,
right? Like,
mm,
nope, I'm not going to come to that. I don't want to be there for that. That doesn't sound like a good time. I have other things to do, whatever it is.
yeah.
They don't play,
They
in
don't play
my
games.
experience, they don't play games, and they don't do any of that passive aggressive bullshit that I can't stand, right?
Mhm.
They're very clear and direct. That doesn't mean it doesn't occasionally hurt your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's not his intention ever,
Mhm.
but and it will be, well, it's the truth. I'm just being honest. So I think that that is a brilliant gift that they can bring to any relationship.
Yeah.
And I know I don't know that I don't think Jake would care. I know that when Jake and I very first met, we sat down and had a conversation, just the two of us, about I need you to always be honest with me. I need you to tell me how you feel. I don't want resentment to build.
Mm,
I don't want you to, behind my back, say, well, I wish you wouldn't, like
mm,
you and I need to be clear with each other because at the time there was someone in our lives who was not.
mm,
And so it was ultra important to me. And I will say that
mm.
to this day, we still have that kind of a relationship.
Yeah.
Um, I've had people say, "Oh, I wish I could have that kind of a relationship with son-in-law, daughter-in-law, whoever, whatever." I know my son has said he would like me to have that kind of a relationship with his partner.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's beautiful. I also know that sometimes it's like, we have to have a hard conversation today.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, but we both know it's coming from a place of compassion, love, respect, and
Mhm.
ultimately fixing something, right?
Mhm.
Whether
Yeah.
making it better or solving something
Yeah.
so that it isn't there.
Yeah. And that discomfort around conflict doesn't exist with them.
No,
They
which is
actually they
so
invite
great.
it. Yeah. Let's
And
talk.
like,
Let's
I
do it.
don't, you
Let's
don't want to do the conflict thing,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
also recognizing that conflict isn't always conflict. And
Yeah,
I try to be
exactly.
careful about
Yeah.
my word choice and that we
Mhm.
need to have a hard discussion or we need to talk about an
Yep.
uncomfortable thing is easier for me going in than we're about to solve a conflict or
Mhm. Yeah.
this is going to be confrontational.
Yeah.
It's going to be a conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe it's hard,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
But if I have to have a hard conversation, I want an A
Yeah, totally. Mhm. Yep.
because they can say it, they deliver it, they do it so well, and it's
Mhm.
concise and it's clear, and they do it in a way that doesn't feel personal or emotional,
Yep.
which
Mhm.
is that's insane to me. Because anytime I start thinking about I'm like crying already, like, I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about this, like, I don't want to hurt your
Yeah.
feelings. Like,
Yeah.
it's not personal,
Yeah.
what the price of gas was at that place. I just
Yeah.
got it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So,
Yeah. So you were sandwiched between two different kinds of 8s too. I'm just realizing that with what you just said with you thinking your dad was an 8. Um, so discussions with your dad, were they the same? Oh, I lost your volume. Oh, there
At
you are.
times,
Okay.
I think that now that I'm older,
Uh-huh.
those conversations are better different.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but as a child, and also, right, because I'm wired a certain way.
Yeah. Right.
Um, as a child, I didn't use my voice. It was
Yeah.
my parents said.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I never really thought of it until today about that it comes from a place of protection. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it was scary raising me, because I had no fear,
Yeah.
like how do you, for someone who wants to protect, how do you protect someone who's like, it's fine, right? You should take it more seriously. You should do this. Why?
Yeah.
Bad
Yeah.
things happen out there. Not to me.
So if you haven't seen the other episode, Julie's a 7. So yeah, an 8 parents. So and our parents didn't know the Enneagram, right? So an 8 parent who's not an Enneagram aware parent raising a 7 child, yeah, that's got to be some pretty scary stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. And do you have any sense of what your mom is? Just out of curiosity,
I bet Sam knows.
Sam? Oh, did
You
we
think
lose
she's
her?
a 2?
That's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering.
Mhm.
I don't
I,
know if is Sam there?
yes,
Okay.
sorry. I was
Uh-huh.
gonna guess. Okay, so I've narrowed it down to a 1, a 2, or a 9.
Okay.
Oh. Hmm.
Okay. So the 1 would probably be more comfortable to the 8 parent with a 7 child. The 2 with the 9. I don't know, because having met your mom, I'm stuck on the 2. Um,
Uh, I think it's a 2, 1 wing.
2, 1.
okay. So yeah, that's probably, yeah, with a 7 in the middle of that. Probably would not feel too comfortable to the 8.
Probably not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, all right, Sam, what about what do you have to add on the 2 security line and Jake as a dad? What you see there?
I'm going to counter and just give you a story because I feel like this is like a classic 8-1 situation.
Mhm.
So I had sent we live by the calendar,
Uh-huh.
like the electronic calendar, and we send each other calendar invites. So I sent Jake a calendar invite for the podcast, and I ended it at noon or 12:30, and I walked out and I had Jojo and he's gone. It is not, he had his time that he was specifically in charge, and had intentions to work on one of his hobbies. And so he is in the garage working on his hobbies because he followed the boundary that I set and the timeline. And because I was off thinking and trying to be present, I didn't think about what Jojo was doing. And she knocked over the entire container of dog food. And so the dog is eating dog food on the floor.
Oh no.
And I'm fine. I'm fine about it.
Oh gosh.
That is a good example of
Yeah,
an 8.
an 8. Yeah, for
You told
sure.
me 12:30, so
Yep.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Bye. Wait.
Yep. All right. So, I think that pretty much wraps up our 8. So yeah, so if you are an 8 parent and you're stressed out, remember you're going to look like a 5. Um, those are your red flags. Those are the things to pay attention to and know when you have to check something. Or if you're just being over the top in your 8, obviously that's, in the lower side of your Enneagram type. So that's another red flag. But remember your 2 line, your security type, the higher expression of that you have available to you. If you feel that you need help working through some of that, because I think out of all the types, you might have the hardest time with that. Because parenting in and of itself is a protective job. And as an 8, you do that really well. So if you need help with that, reach out. I do Enneagram work with people, mariamandarino.com. You can find me there. Julie does this work as well. Different skill set as a counselor. So she's at windhorsecounseling.com. Anything that you guys want to add?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. All righty. Thank you both for being here. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next time. Bye.